Hello friends, welcome to our AIMS Today YouTube channel. In today's IIT JEE Foundation class from Mathematics subject, polynomials topic we are going to continue. Theorem in this video, reminder theorem. So if P of X is a polynomial, so P of X is a polynomial of degree greater than or equal to 1. Degree should be greater than or equal to 1. So if degree is 0, we call it as constant polynomial. But here, for applying this theorem, we have to consider polynomials whose degree greater than or equal to 1. Means we can take linear polynomials, binomial polynomials, like cubic polynomials. Like that, we can take any polynomial except constant polynomial. So let A be any real number. Let A be any real number. So here we have a polynomial and we have a real number. Now, if the polynomial is divided by x minus a, where a is a real number, then the remainder will be P of a. So according to this theorem, if we have given a polynomial and we have given a real number such as a, then if the polynomial divided by x minus a, like that expression, so then the remainder will be P of a. So here, according to division rule, so this can be expressed as, so P of x, it is the dividend. So dividend equal to divisor. What is the divisor here? We are dividing with x minus a. So x minus a will be the divisor. So then remainder is P of a. So let's denote remainder with r. Then r of x will be remainder whose value is P of a. Along with that, we will get one quotient which is termed as Q of x here. So here Q of x is considered as quotient and r of x is considered as remainder. So here if we take one polynomial and if we divide with a value like x minus a, we will get a remainder. So for if this expression is P of x and this one if we consider as g of x, for P of x, g of x, for two such polynomials, there exists two more polynomials like q of x and r of x, where they are considered as, one is considered as quotient and one is considered as remainder. So according to this theorem, we can find the remainder. When a polynomial is divided by another polynomial, we can find the remainder without any help of long division method. Without using long division method, directly we can find the remainder. In this case, we can make use of this remainder theorem. Let's see the logic behind this remainder theorem. So let's divide a polynomial x square plus 2x plus 6 by x minus 1. So let's divide using long division method first, then we will verify with the remainder theorem. So according to long division method, so what we will do, we will take the polynomial, we want to divide it with x minus 1. So x minus 1, first we will take x times x minus 1 x times. What will come? X into x square. So x into 1 x. But here we have to change the symbols. So minus x square plus x we have taken. This will get cancelled. So 2x plus x, 3x. Now let's take 3 times. 3 into x, 3x. 3 ones are 3. After changing the sign, it will become minus, it will become plus. Again 3x gets cancelled. 6 plus 3, 9. So by using long division method, if this polynomial is divided by another polynomial, then we are getting the remainder by long division method. So now according to remainder theorem or using the division rule, how do we express this long division? So according to division rule, we know that dividend equal to divisor into quotient plus remainder. So here the let's take this x square plus 2x plus 6 equal to p of x. Let's name this polynomial as p of x. Then dividend will be p of x. Dividend p of x equal to, what is the divisor? X minus 1 is the divisor. So what is the quotient we got? X plus 3. We got the quotient x plus 3 and we got the remainder 9. So according to division rule, we have written this long division in this way. So here, now I want remainder. Suppose if you observe the divisor here, x minus 1 is there. So for what value of x? This divisor will become 0. As we have minus 1 here, in the place of x, if we keep 1, then this divisor will become 0. Divisor into quotient, this total will become 0, and we will get the remainder. We will get the remaining value 9, which is equal to the remainder. So means for getting the remainder, in the divisor, in the place of x, we have to keep such a value so that remaining all values will become 0 and final value will be the remainder. 9 will be the remaining value. So here in the place of x, we can keep 1. In the place of x, we can keep 1. So why we have to keep 1 only? So their divisor, you can assume that divisor x minus 1 is equal to 0. Let's take x minus 1 equal to 0. Divisor value should be equal to 0. Like that if we take means, so then what is the value of x? X equal to minus 1 will go that side, it will become plus 1. So means if we take x equal to 1, then only divisor will become 0. Product of divisor and quotient will become 0. Only remainder will be the remaining value. So that's why we are taking x equal to 1 in the place of p of x. So then what happens? P of 1. If we calculate p of 1, so 1 square, 2 into 1 plus 6 equal to 9. So p of 1, whose value is 9. That p of 1 is considered as the remainder. So now according to remainder theorem, if p of x is divided by x minus a, then remainder will be p of a. In this case, it is divided by x minus 1. So that's why remainder is p of 1. So this is the logic behind remainder theorem. Means in the division rule, in the place of divisor, in the place of x, if we keep what value, we will get only remainder. So that value is considered as remainder of the polynomial. Let's see some more examples. So general form of some more reminders. So p of x divided by x plus a. So then what is the remainder? This you have to assume that this x plus a is equal to 0. X plus a is equal to 0. Then what will be the value of x? This plus a will go that side. It will become minus a. So the remainder will be p of minus a. So p of minus a means this polynomial remainder, it will have remainder value at the variable x equal to minus a, and its remainder is p of minus a. Its value we will get if we keep x equal to minus a in everywhere of the polynomial. So now if it is divided by ax minus b, so then if you assume it as 0, so then what will be the value of x? Minus b will go that side, it will become plus b, a will come this side, b by a. So remainder is p of b by a. In the same way, if we divide by ax plus b, then remainder is p of minus b by a. if we divide by b minus ax, then the remainder is p of a by b. So like that, for any polynomial, if the divisor is given without long division method, directly we can find the remainder by making use of this remainder theorem. But one thing we have to keep in mind, whatever polynomial they have given, it should have degree more than 1 or equal to 1. But it should not be an constant polynomial. And one more thing, if p of x, g of x, like that two polynomials are given such that, so p of x, the degree of p of x, here whatever polynomials we have taken, in this one condition definitely we have to follow, the degree of p of x should greater than or equal to degree of g of x. Means the degree of the dividend should always be greater than or equal to degree of the divisor. And one more thing, the divisor should not be equal to 0. The divisor should not be equal to 0. In this case, we can find polynomials such as q of x. We can find polynomials such as q of x and r of x. Two more polynomials we can find. One is termed as a quotient and one is termed as a remainder, such that all four will follow division rule. All four will follow division rule, where rx equal to 0, remainder is equal to 0, or sometimes degree of remainder, not sometimes, always, degree of remainder less than degree of the divisor. Less than degree of the divisor. For two polynomials like p of x and g of x, two more polynomials are possible, q of x and r of x. All four polynomials, they will follow the division rule, where the remainder is 0 and where the degree of remainder is less than the degree of the divisor. So from the remainder theorem, we can find these conclusions. So let's see some example problems. Now they are asking to find the remainder. So they have given a polynomial here. So they have given a polynomial 4x cube minus 5x plus 1. They have given a polynomial and we have to find the remainder when divided by x minus 2, x plus 3, 2x minus 1. In three cases we have to find the remainder. So let's take f of x. Let's denote the polynomial by f of x. First example, a, x minus 2. When the polynomial is divided by x minus 2. So this minus 2 will go, if we take it as 0, then minus 2, if it goes the side, it will become 2, x equal to 2. So we have to find the remainder when we keep the value 2 in the place of x, means f of 2. So 2 cube minus, directly we can get the answer 23. So without division method, directly we are able to find the answer. So the remainder of f of x when divided by x minus 2 is directly 23. In the second case, we have to divide it by x plus 3. Then remainder will be f of minus 3. Remainder value will be at f of minus 3. Actually, this f of minus 3 is not the remainder. Originally, what does it mean? Means remainder value lies at this f of minus 3. So f of minus 3 value, if we calculate, means it will come minus 92. So remainder is minus 92. In third case, 2x minus 1. So minus 1 will go that side, plus 1. 2 will go that side, 1 by 2. So the remainder will be at x equal to 1 by 2. We have to keep the values. Then after simplification, value we will get minus 1. So we will come across these type of problems regarding the remainder theorem. Let's see one more example. So the expression 4x square minus px plus 7 leaves a remainder minus 2. Means remainder value they have given when divided by x minus 3. Divisor also they have given. Remainder value also they have given. But in the given polynomial, one unknown value is there, which is p. That unknown value we have to find with the help of given hints. So here, let's take the polynomial as f of x. So according to remainder theorem, if it is divided by x minus 3, so then it will have remainder at f of 3. It will have remainder at f of 3. But according to cosine, the remainder value is minus 2. So that f of 3 value is minus 2. Let's keep everywhere 3 in this given polynomial. So then LHS will become 4 3 square p into 3 3p plus 7 equal to minus 2. After simplification, we can find the p value directly. So we will come across problems like they will give the remainder value, they will give the divisor, and in the polynomial they will keep an unknown value. That unknown value we have to find. So these kind of problems also we have to solve. Next, let's see one more problem. Now find the values of AB. So here two unknown values are there. And the given polynomial is exactly divisible. Exactly divisible means the remainder will always be 0. Without any other remainder, exactly it will be divided by both x minus 1 and x plus 2. Here two divisors are there. For the given polynomial, two divisors are there. With the two divisors, the given polynomial is exactly divisible. Then we have to find the two unknown values. So let's take the polynomial as p. Now x minus 1, because it is exactly divisible. Any number, if it divides any other number as exactly divisible, then it is called as a factor of the first number. So here x minus 1 is a factor of p of x. So p of 1, the remainder at p of x equal to 1, that is p of 1 is equal to 0, that is 1. When it is divided by x plus 2, remainder will be p of minus 2, whose value also 0. Why we are taking 0 means, in the question they have given exactly divisible word. So that's why directly we are taking 0. P of 1, if we substitute in all places of x 1, so then we will get one equation. Which is equal to 0. If we place minus 2 also, we will get one more equation which is equal to 0. If we solve these two equations, we will get a value and we will get b value. So like this, we can making use of remainder theorem, we can solve different types of problems. Let's learn about factor theorem in this video. So let p of x be any polynomial. Of degree greater than or equal to 1. So p of x is a polynomial whose degree is greater than or equal to 1. It means that it is not a constant polynomial. It may be linear polynomial, binomial, cubic polynomial, like that. It should not be constant polynomial. So that kind of polynomial we are taking, and let a be the unknown value, a be any real number. Then x minus a will be considered as a factor of p of x if and only if p of a equal to 0. So already we have learnt in remainder theorem, for p of x, if a is any real number, then p of a will be considered as remainder. This is considered as remainder. So here, if the remainder is 0, for p of x, if p of a equal to 0, So then according to this, we can tell x minus a is a factor of p of x. Means x minus a, it is also a polynomial. X minus a polynomial divides another polynomial p of x exactly. So then the remainder will become 0, or p of x is exactly divisible by x minus a. So that's why x minus a is called a factor of p of x. So here the condition is, if p of x is a polynomial whose degree is greater than or equal to 1, means which is an example of either linear polynomial, binomial, cubic polynomial, like that, and a be any real number, if p of a equal to 0, if and only if, in that case only x minus a is a factor of p of x. So we can consider this factor theorem as a reciprocal of remainder theorem. So in the remainder theorem, what we have told, the remainder will be 0. But here in this case, if the remainder is 0, then x minus a is a factor that we are defining. So from this we can conclude two things. One is, x minus a is a factor of p of x when a equal to 0. That is first case. And second case, if the remainder is 0, then x minus a is a factor of p of x. If x minus a is a factor, then remainder is 0. That is one case. If remainder is 0, then x minus a is a factor. That is second case. So factor theorem is commonly used for factoring a polynomial. Suppose we have given a polynomial, we have to find the factors of polynomial. Then in that case, we make use of this factor theorem. And it is also used in finding the roots. Finding the roots means solutions. Finding the solutions of a given polynomial equations. It is a special case of polynomial remainder theorem. So we can make use of this factor theorem for factoring a polynomial, for finding the factors of a polynomial, that is one case, and for finding the roots of the polynomial, that is the second case. So proof of factor theorem. So consider a polynomial f of x which is divisible by x minus c, which is divisible by x minus c. Then according to factor theorem, f of c should be 0. So using remainder theorem, so this statement, how we can express this statement, f of x, the dividend equal to divisor x minus c. Here we are dividing with x minus c, divisor x minus c. We will get some coefficient. We can name it as q of x, and we will get remainder f of c. If the remainder is 0, because in factor theorem what we have told, if the remainder is 0, then it is a factor that we have to prove. Means remainder is 0, it is given in the statement. So we are taking remainder as 0. So then what happens? Plus 0, we can remove that plus 0. So f of x can be written as product of these two polynomials. Suppose we are having number 8. If we write it as 2 into 4, then what this 2 and 4 are considered, this 2 and 4 are considered as factors of 8. So in the same way, here f of x is written as product of two polynomials. So these two are considered as factors of f of x. So if 0 is the remainder, then x minus c is a factor of f of x. So that can be proved. So we can also prove in another way. So by remainder theorem, we can write according to division rule, we can write the given statement as this. If now here in the last proof what we have taken, if the remainder is 0, x minus c is a factor that we have told. Here, if it is a factor, then the remainder must be 0. So if it is a factor, according to definition of factor, what does it mean? It will exactly divides f of x. So remainder will always be equal to 0. So these two cases are possible. Let's see some general examples. So if for a given polynomial p of x, if p of minus a equal to 0, if this remainder equal to 0, then what is the factor? So for let's take one variable x, this minus a, if we take towards x, we have to change the symbol x plus a. We can write it as x plus a. So x plus a is a factor of p of x. So for writing factor, we have to take the variable, and whatever remainder is there, for that sign we have to change, and we have to combine both. Then it will be considered as factor of the given polynomial. Suppose p of b by a. How we can write? X here plus symbol is there, so we have to write minus b by a. X minus b by a. After simplification, x minus b by a equal to 0. That we have to consider. So ax, if you after taking LCM, ax minus b equal to 0. So what will be the factor? Ax minus b. So ax minus b is the factor. So here p of b minus a. So x we have to take, minus b minus a is there. We have to change it as plus b by a. If we consider it as 0 after taking LCM, so ax plus b equal to 0. On the LHS part, ax plus b will be there. So ax plus b is a factor of p of x. So in the same way, if the remainder is a by b, then bx minus a is a factor of p of x. Like that we can find the factors if the remainders are given. So let's see one example. So use the factor theorem and determine whether x minus a is a factor of, here is 2 times printed, x minus 1 is a factor of the given expression a, b, ab. We have two polynomials. We have to find whether x minus a is factor of each polynomial or not. So let's assume this polynomial as f of x. So if x minus 1 is to be a factor, then we have to prove f of 1. Then we have to prove f of 1 equal to 0. Let's keep 1 in the place of x everywhere in the given statement. 1 cube, 1 square, 7, 2, like this. After simplification, it is 0. So as the remainder is 0, it is proved that x minus 1 is a factor of f of x. Now second example. Let's assume the second example of as g of x equal to. So let's keep 1 in the place of x everywhere of the polynomial. Then 1 cube, 1 square, 2 into 1, 1. After simplification, we have got the remainder minus 1. So as the remainder is not 0, we can tell that x minus 1 is not a factor of g of x. So thank you. So we are going to learn about factorization of polynomials. So before going to that, let's see what are factors. Suppose if we have an integral value, so if we have an integral value or if we have an integer like 172 and that particular value get divided completely by another integral value or another number such as 4 without leaving any remainder other than 0. If after the division, so whatever remainder we are getting, it should be always 0. If it is not other than 0, so in that case the divisor with which we are dividing the given integral value is called as the factor of that integral value. Is called as the factor of that integral value. Means a factor is such kind of integer which divides the given integer perfectly without leaving any remainder other than 0. So that is called as a factor. Let's see in another way. So if we have 12, how we can write 12 in terms of product of two numbers? So many possible ways are there. We can write it as 12 into 1 or 6 into 2, 3 into 4. Means the given integer 12 is divided by all these integers, either 12, 1, 6, 2, 3, 4. It is 12 is divisible by all the 6 integral values without leaving any remainder other than 0. So these 6 are all considered as factors of 12 because all the 6 integers can divide 12 with a remainder 0. So we can define factor in another way, that is when an integer, when a given integer like 12 could be written as product of two or more integers, then each such integer will be considered as the factor of the given integer. So there is no compulsion that an integer should have always only one factor. So many other factors also may be possible. It depends on the given integer value. Now in the previous video, so this is now in these two examples we have find out the factors of numerals. So let's see how to find the factors of polynomials. So the same case of numbers also exists for polynomials. So a polynomial also can be written as a product of two or more polynomials of degree less than or equal to that of it. So not only a number, if we have a polynomial, that polynomial also we can write it as a product of two polynomials. What about the degree of the two polynomials? The degree of that polynomial should be less than or equal to the given polynomial. So like that, if we write a polynomial, so then each polynomial involved in the product. Now the given polynomial we have written as a product of polynomials. So in that product, so whatever polynomials are involved, all that polynomials are considered as factors of the given polynomial. So the process of algebraic expression, writing of an algebraic expression as the product of two or more algebraic expressions is called factorization. So here factorization means, so writing a given algebraic expression in terms of product of two or more algebraic expressions. So it is like just like splitting an expression into multiplication of simpler expressions. A complex expression, if we split into multiplication of simpler expressions, so then all the possible terms in that multiplication are termed as factors of the given polynomial. Suppose we have a cube. So how we can split a cube? A into A. So here A is considered as factor of a cube. Or suppose if we have 3ABC, actually these two are monomials. If we have a monomial, then easily we can tell its factor, 3ABC. We can write it as a product of 3 into A into B into C. So now all these four, 3, A, B, C, all four are considered as factors of 3ABC. Or let's see one more example. So I want to find factors of 2y plus 6. So here 2y, how can I write 2y? 2 into y. Or how can I express 6? 2 into 3 as a product of 2 into 3. If you observe these two expressions or equations, here in these two expressions 2 is common. So they have common factor such as 2. So we can factor the whole expression into. So 2y plus 6 means we can write it as, we can take 2 as common. If we take 2 as common, in this y is remaining, in this 3 is remaining. So we can write 2 into y plus 3. So 2y plus 6 has been factored into 2 into y plus 3. So what we are telling, 2y plus 6 is factored. How it has been factored? Into 2 and y plus 3 as a product of 2 and y plus 3. So like this, not only for numbers, even for polynomials also, by the process of factorization, we can find the all possible factors. So let's see types of factorization. So type 1. So factorization by taking out the common factors. The first method is how to do factorization of a given polynomial by taking out the common factors. So we already know how to expand the polynomial. How to expand the polynomial. Suppose a into b plus c is there. Now I want to expand it. So how can I expand a into b? I can write it as ab plus a into c, ac. According to distributive property, I can write it as ab plus ac. So this process is called expansion. This process is called expansion. So now again, if I want to express ab plus ac into simpler terms, how can I write it as? I can take a as common. I can write it as a into b plus c. So this is called factorization. So factorization is nothing but it's a reverse process of expansion. It's a reverse process of expansion. Actually, by distributive property, we can make it expand. Again, if we take the common term out, so then it is called factorization. So it is nothing but simply a reverse process of expansion. So now I want to factorize this polynomial 2xy plus xz. So 2xy plus xz. 2xy I can write it as, so 2 into x into, sorry, y is missing here, 2 into x into y plus x into z. So here in both the terms, here x is there, here x is there. So x is the common factor. X is the common factor. So we can take this common factor out. We can take this common factor out. So what will come here? If we take x as common factor, here 2y will be remaining, here z will be remaining. So 2y plus z, x into 2y plus z. So these two, one is x, another one is 2y plus z. These two are the factors of given polynomial. So if we want to check whether the results of factorization are correct or not, so then we can expand it again. X into 2y, what we will get? 2xy plus x into z, xz. 2xy plus xz. Again, after by expanding, we can check our result. We can confirm our result. So this is the first method of factorization, and it is taking out of common factors. Factorization by taking out of common factors. So next, second type, type 2, factorization by grouping terms. Factorization by grouping terms. If there is no common factor, in the previous example we have taken the common factor, but consider in the given polynomial there is no common factor. So then there may be no common factor for all the terms, but for some of the terms common factors may be there. We can group them. We have to group them. Then we have to take the common term out. So the second type is factorization by grouping the terms. Factorization by grouping the terms. So grouping the terms. So that technique will be used. So here they have given one expression, a square minus b plus ab minus k. So there is no common term for all the four terms. But if we write it as, if we take a square plus ap as one group, minus I am taking common, b plus a as second group. Out of 4 terms, we made them into 2 groups consisting 2 terms each. So then, in the first group a is common. If I take a is common, I will get a plus b. In the second group, there is nothing common, so I can take 1 as common. If I take 1 as common, b plus a will remain the same, or I can write it as a plus b. Now, this from the first group and from the second group, I can take a plus b as common. So here a will be remaining, here minus 1 will be remaining. So we can write as a product of a plus b into a minus 1. So these two are the factors of given expression. So if all the 4 terms are not having common factor, then we can group them and we can take the common factors. Then again we can take the common factor. So this is the second type. Third type, factorization by making a perfect square. So we know that whenever a square binomial, we square a binomial, the resulting trinomial is called a perfect square trinomial, because we can write it as a square of binomial. So then that's why it is called as a perfect square trinomial. So we know that a square plus 2ab plus b square. So this is a trinomial. We can write it as a square of binomial. We can write it as a square of a plus b, or a plus b whole square. Or if we take a square minus 2ab plus b square, we can write it as square of a minus b, or we call it as a minus b whole square. So these two trinomials, they can be written as squares of binomials. So in this condition, what happens? A plus b whole square, we can write it as a plus b into a plus b. So here a plus b and a plus b, these two will be the products of this trinomial. So like that, by writing as a perfect square also, we can find the factors. So if we have this expression, so how you can elaborate it? 9x square, you can write it as 3x whole square. 4y square, you can write it as 2y whole square. So 12xy, we can write it as 2 into 3x into 2y. It is in the form of a square plus 2ab plus b square. So it can be written as 3x plus 2y whole square. So what are the factors of this given expression? One factor is 3x plus 2y, second factor also the same. So this is the third method. Now fourth method, factorizing by writing as a difference of two squares. Like that also we can factorize. So if a given polynomial is in the form of a square minus b square, so here each term is a perfect square. The first term a square is a perfect square, second term b square is a perfect square. Each two terms are perfect square. So then, and if there is minus sign between them, then the answer after factoring the difference in two squares include two binomials. It means, suppose if we have a square minus b square, so what are the factors of this binomial? We can write it as a plus b and a minus b. This identity already it is proved. So directly we are taking the formula here. So here it is the difference of two squares. Here the difference of two squares is there. It can be written as the product of sum of two terms. One factor is sum of two terms, another factor is difference of two terms. So we will get two binomials. Out of that, one binomial will be the sum of two terms, second binomial will be the difference of two terms. So like that also we can find factors. if we have 9x square minus 4y square, we can write it as 3x whole square minus 2y whole square. So what are the factors? Sum of two terms, 3x plus 2y, difference of two terms, 3x minus 2y. Like that, if we have difference of two squares, so directly by using this algebraic identity, we can write the factors. Next, fifth method, factorizing the sum and difference of cubes of two quantities. So we know that a cube plus b cube, it can be written as a plus b into a square minus ab plus b square. These two are the factors. In the same way, a cube minus b cube, it can also be written as a product of these two polynomials. So if we have cubes, if we have difference of cubes or sum of cubes, they can be factored. They can be factored easily with the help of these formulas. Suppose I have a cube plus 27. How can I write it? I'll write it as a cube plus 3 cube in the standard form. So after the writing in standard form, with the help of formula, directly I can write it as a plus 3, one factor as a plus 3, other factor as a square minus 3a plus 9. In the same way, suppose if I have b cube minus 64, I will write it as b cube minus 4 cube. So directly by using the formula of a cube minus b cube, I can write it as b minus 4, b square plus 4b plus 16. So like that, by using the algebraic identities also, I can write the factors. So like this, we have 5 types of factorization of polynomials. So remaining topics we will discuss in next video. So thank you for watching our video. Please subscribe our channel and press the bell icon for receiving latest updates. Thank you.